What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball. So I feel like this news is kind of flown under the radar. Like, not too many people are talking about it. I guess maybe because it's not completely official, but the Washington Wizards are planning to relocate. Now, this isn't like a big relocation like Seattle moving to Oklahoma City, where we haven't had an NBA team there before, and it's obviously a big move in terms of actual distance, but the team is leaving where it's at. They're not going to be the Washington Wizards anymore. As we can see here, the Wizards are planning to move to Virginia in the year 2028. So the Wizards owner, Ted Leonsis, I don't know. I don't really know exactly, but essentially he wanted a bunch of money from DC so that they can kind of redo the stadium and everything. He doesn't think the facilities are up to the standards that he wants anymore. So he was like, hey, I want some new stuff. DC said no. I think they countered with like 500 million by the end of it or something. So he said, fine, I'm going to call some of my buddies down in Virginia and I'll just take them there. So the move is mostly economic, right? The first thing I think is taxes are probably pretty high in DC. So if he can move them, he's moving the Capitals as well. That's the other team that he owns. So I would have to imagine taxes are a bit lower. You get a nice new stadium and everything. It's just a better like economic move for the team. You can see here, this is kind of a render of what they're kind of picturing. From what I've heard, their idea is they basically want to, they're moving to Alexandria, Virginia, by the way, which if we take a look here, I went and map quested it out for you guys. Map quest is an older term for something like this, but Alexandria, Virginia is literally like a 20-minute drive. It's literally across the river. So the idea with this is like, okay, we keep all the same fans that we already have, but we're somewhere else for financial reasons. But yeah, in this render, the idea is you have the Wizards Stadium. You also have the Capitals Stadium. I believe they want to conjoin them in kind of like the same building, from my understanding, with kind of this concert venue that's also here. They want to expand, or more so build out, this new district of Alexandria. And for reference, Alexandria would be the second smallest like professional sports team market outside of Green Bay with the Packers, because there's only about 115,000-ish or 150,000. I don't remember what it is. I can look it up. 150,000. There you go. Green Bay is smaller than that, but otherwise it doesn't get too much smaller. But the idea is they're going to build out this entire new kind of like shopping and entertainment district down there, and they want some professional sports teams there, because why wouldn't you, right? Like that's just good economics right there. You have the sports team in this concert venue. All of a sudden you have things popping downtown, and what do they have to do after they go downtown? They want to go out and drink. They want to go out and eat. They want to go have nightlife, right? So this is going to be their like nightlife district. The Milwaukee Bucks actually did this when they got their new stadium. Milwaukee kind of built out like a new shopping district, they called it, and so they put the Bucks stadium at the center of it, because why not, right? Like that's the epicenter of what they're doing, and so that's how you make your money back, right? I know people are complaining like, oh, why don't these billionaires just go build these massive stadiums for like $600 million? Well, this is why. This is how economics works. You spend some tax dollars to build all of this stuff, but in the end, more people have to move here, right? You hope that more people are going to move from Washington to Virginia, maybe because of this, because it's a new popping scene, right? New businesses open up here. More tax dollars are earned, right? It's a smart financial move. It makes a ton of sense if you're the Virginia lawmakers to do something like this. And Virginia doesn't have any professional sports teams, and so the opportunity to add two with an already established fan base that's only 20 minutes away in a pretty densely populated metropolitan area makes too much sense not to do. So I think this is one of people's like first questions too, saying, is it the Virginia Wizards? Can we just say that the Wizards have like possibly the worst name in the NBA? I don't know who would be worse. Maybe like the Utah Jazz, only because they didn't leave that name in New Orleans when they moved. I also think about the Lakers. The Lakers are so iconic at this point, it doesn't matter. But they probably just should have left that name to Minnesota. But whatever, I'm not here to talk about those teams. The Virginia Wizards, that's even worse than the Washington Wizards. At least you had some alliteration going on there. My guess would be is that they're not going to change their name just because it's such a close move. But man, I'd sure like them to. Like the obvious answer for what to name them is the Cavs, like the Cavaliers, but obviously that name's taken by both the university and the other NBA team that's definitely not giving up that name. But I know they used to have an ABA team, and I think they were called the Squires, but they were in Richmond, Virginia. So I'm not sure that that's a name they necessarily want to adopt. I did look on Reddit because, of course I did. I see Virginia Velocity, the Venom, the Knights. I think Knights is because that's what 2K calls them. The Vipers, I mean, Yeah. And a lot of people saying, yeah, they don't really need to change their name. I love this one, the Washington basketball team. I'm all for that. I have to imagine the Commanders, now that they have new owners and stuff, are going to want to change that name again too. The last owner, he who shall not be named, was a little petty, and that's why he went about things this way. The Virginia Grand Wizards. That'd be pretty hilarious. Obviously, Washington used to be called the Bullets and everything, and then they were like, oh, that's a bit too abrasive of a name, so they're not doing that anymore. But I don't know what you call these guys if they move that. Like I said, they're probably just going to stick with the Virginia Wizards for like brand purposes and such, but I don't know, man. It's an ugly name. So how does this affect like the Wizards in general? So the Wizards are one of the laughing stocks of the NBA this year, and honestly, they've been in this just disarrayment for the past couple years. That's why we have our Washington Wizards rebuild series. I just felt like this fan base deserved a rebuild the most. You guys should go watch that series, by the way. But this team is just, it's not in a good spot, right? I can't imagine that DC is a very favorable place to live. I know a couple people from there, and it's, you know, it's very densely populated. It's expensive to live there. There's not a ton of like attractions that would make you necessarily want to live there if you're like a millionaire or something like that. So there's not much of a reason for people to go there. I mean, even when they had John Wall and Bradley Beal and were like, they weren't contending, but you know, they were a middle level team. It's not like they were attracting any high level free agents. I don't foresee that changing too much by moving here. I actually wouldn't be surprised if some people like this place more than DC just because it's a little more quaint, if you will, a little more suburban, and it's just going to be new, right? Like everything's going to be brand new there, and that's cool. Having new facilities and everything, that's something to attract people. But you know, where is this team going? We look at the roster right now, and obviously it's led by Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. Oh my God, is that Kuzma's hair for the picture? Yeah, that's a good symbol for how the season's going right there. Obviously, this team has been kind of just a complete disaster. Nobody thought they were going to be like good, but I think we just expected a better performance out of guys like Poole and Kuzma. How's Kuzma doing? 23 points a game. I mean, that's commendable, and you're getting 17 from Poole. The efficiency numbers are kind of what they are, but this team's pretty bad, and it's not just like they're not talented, because they're not the most talented team. They're definitely one of the bottom tier teams in terms of talent, but they're also just like so all over the place. Like, it looks so sloppy. Like, it looks worse than like Pistons basketball. Like, Pistons basketball is like a lack of spacing and like too much youth on a team and weird rotations. This team just, they don't look like there's any like discipline. I think you have to look at the coaching staff a little bit and kind of be like, hey, what's kind of going on? Why is Jordan Poole allowed to be like this goofy out on the court? Why is Kuzma taking some of the shots he's taking? Right? There's a lot of question marks here. There's not like someone you look at on this team too and you're like, oh, there's a natural leader on this team. I think about guys like Tyus Jones, like maybe, but otherwise that's kind of it. And then you look at the youth on the team, right? Like, so Coulibaly, their rookie this year, hey, I think has flown a bit under the radar. His defensive instincts are already really good. He's pretty good at attacking the rim. The jump shot's looking solid. He just looks like he's picking up the game very quick for someone that's very young and very raw. So that's nice to see. The problem is if he doesn't have anybody to learn from and he's not able to practice good habits in the game, like, it doesn't really matter. So you hope that they're able to kind of supplement the roster in the coming years so that he can continue to grow. But looking at some of these other young guys like Johnny Davis, I can't imagine is getting a second contract. And I know Johnny Davis, and it bums me out to see that. I love Johnny. He's a good kid. Looking through the rest of them, like Denny's what the Wizards always draft. These guys that are competent basketball players that don't really have a ton of upside. Like, I feel like Denny's kind of already reached his ceiling, which is a nice NBA player. I mean, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, very quality wing. But that's probably the most you're getting out of him. You're not getting a superstar out of him. You got guys like Corey Kispert, who are very nice role players, right? Double-digit scorer, great shooter, solid defender, right? You got some nice vets on the team in Muscala and Gallinari that would probably love to be on another team. Maybe a DeLon Wright, too, who's kind of having a weird season. Again, probably because most of the rest of the team is having a weird season. But I wouldn't be surprised if they try to trade Tyus Jones to at least get something for him. The new GM has proven that he's kind of willing to do so. But there's nothing really to be excited about on this team besides like Coulibaly. And we don't know exactly what his ceiling is yet. So I don't know. If you're a Wizards fan, man, and soon to be Virginia Wizards fan, I'm sorry. Because I don't know what you're looking forward to right now. Again, I don't know if I'm like bummed that a team is leaving DC. I've never really cared that much because DC sports teams are kind of always pretty bleh. But I don't know. I like the idea of the economics of building up this new city and everything, and them having a professional sports team. That's kind of cool. But I don't know. This isn't going to fix a lot of the Wizards' problems. Again, it's cool that you get nice new facilities. It sounds like it was much needed. But, how do you actually make this a team that people want to go see? Right? I mean, the government's paying for this money. It's coming from the taxpayers, right? Like, let's try to put something interesting on the court now. Not sure how the Wizards plan on doing that either. They don't have a great amount of draft picks or anything like that. Again, young players are hard to come by for them, apparently. Talented young players at that. But hey, if you're a DC fan, let me know what you think about this, because the general vibe that I kind of get from Wizards Twitter, which, this is just what I'm reading, but people are kind of like, I can't even blame them. I mean, this franchise is such a disaster. And hey, I'm a Chicago sports fan, so I understand disaster, right? I get it. But it seems like people are like, well, whatever. It's not like they're moving that far anyway. So that's the point of them only moving 20 minutes away, right? So if you are a DC fan, let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you think of the move. If you've got good names or ideas for them, let me know, because I can't think of anything. So yeah, let's help these boys rebrand and everything, because it's rough. I think they got the worst uniforms and the worst name. I truly do. But anyway, thanks so much for watching, y'all. Really appreciate it. Let me know what other teams should move or should change names, things like that. And until next time, we'll see y'all.